Starting up here at the top left-hand side, it is our purple Zerg player. Put your hands together for soO, representing Team Africa Freaks. Sorry, Kaizi Gaming.
There we are. And in the bottom right, for the Guangdong Freaks, he is one of the greatest Zergs to play this game. Looking better and better from the military. In the gold, soO. He's my supremely favorite player.
Oh, good old ZVZ, man. The Korean ZVZ. Always good to catch a few of these. I feel like we get so much European ZVZ and stuff. It's nice and refreshing to get a little European ZVZ sometimes here and there.
Oh, agreed. I don't feel like we see enough Korean ZVZ actually, just because of how the GSL tends to go. And I mean, okay, we got Dark Rogue, but at this point, that might be its own matchup. They play each other so much, and there's so much mind games involved. But when we talk about ZVZ as a whole, Fear Dragon, it feels like there's this gradient where you have European ZVZ, which is all very, I'm not going to get too aggressive early. I'm going to respect your ability to defend my Ling Bane. And then you have this other you have North America on the other end, which is, oh, I have 27 drones or less. Let me flood Lings. It's good luck. But Korea's right in the middle. They're a little bit more aggressive than Europe. They're not quite as insane as what you'll see on the North American ladder. And that, I'd argue, that gives them a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, I think that's a good, decent way of putting it. Like, in my mind, Korea, they are considered aggressive by most of the Europeans and kind of in your face about stuff. But I think North Americans are doing aggression or a lot of these other wonky things, frankly, a little bit with the kind of mindset of this probably won't get punished. Whereas I think a lot of the Koreans are kind of doing things aggressively in order to punish things. So they're trying to find little timing windows and stuff like that. So I think it should be probably a pretty action-packed ZVZ is what I'm expecting. But, time will tell. Both these players so far open up with their good old 3 hatchery setup. The 2 early Lings that poke at the hatchery and soften it up, but eventually have to retreat back. The Overlord's getting pushed back by the Queens. And I think it's really going to be in about 45 seconds that I get to see whether or not these players start cutting out some drones and making some Lings, or if they're actually going to play a little bit more European style and actually just go up to like a Roach Warren and a lair.
Yeah, the timing you're looking at is this 27-28 drone mark, which is what we see right here. And that says, okay, do you flood Lings? Do you not? How much pressure are you going to put on your opponent's third? And soO does have aggression on the mind, or murder on the mind, as the children say. So 18 Lings are going to be on the way, timing out with that Baneling nest as soO bugs his Lings out a little bit, trying to run by those rocks. But here we go. Lings are on the map. 1 Baneling morphing in on the right side, 2 more on the left. He's going to look to sandwich his opponent here, trying to knock down a lot of Lings at once. And that's actually going to be really interesting depending on how well soO handles this one. But for now, he's got 1 Baneling on the field. Lings look to dive on top of the Queens here, looking for a drone. Decent Baneling connections there to start. 4 Lings do go down, but behind this, Baneling's in the natural. Oh, that could have been a lot worse there, Ravi.
Yeah, I mean, already getting 4 workers is definitely not too shabby, but you're right. A lot of those workers are now kind of softened up and could actually be vulnerable for maybe like a Ling counterattack or something a bit later on. But for now, soO is looking to try and get a little bit of his own counter aggression done over here with some of these Lings poking forward. No Banelings really to support this at the moment, though. So it's going to be a little bit, a couple of Lings are sitting a little bit further back. So maybe they were looking to morph into Banelings, or maybe there's a little bit of miscontrol there. But Banelings come rolling on forward over here for soO, slowly but surely. Queen should be enough to deflect this, though. And both players have already gone back into droning. So this is all the normal early game ZVZ aggression that we're talking about that the Koreans really love doing. I feel like Europeans, they'll do this. But a lot of the time, they're actually happy to skip it. Koreans really just like making sure they test the waters of those Ling Baneling little pressures.
And in fairness, soO did get some decent damage. He killed 4 workers. Honestly, it probably should have been 7, but the second Baneling connected a little bit too soon. But because of the aggression that soO put on Fear Dragon, he's been able to catch right up. Those 4 workers, yeah, they went down, but he pumped Lings. He forced a little bit more defense from soO than he would have liked. But hey, that means he can swing back over on the other side just a little bit. But there we go. It's just a distraction once again. Baneling's into the middle line. 6 workers this time. A superb play from the Gold Zerg.
Yeah, it seems like solar's actually having trouble noticing these kind of run bys. Not only the banelings, but now also the lings getting in over here at an awkward angle. Not actually finding too many more workers though. Ooh, okay. Gets a little bit dangerous toward the end over there. Actually, on the other side of the map, we also see some additional workers going down. Looks like 8 workers going down for soO. You know what's kind of funny, Beowulf, is that at the end of the day, it really is soO that's down quite a few workers, and soO is just flooding out more units behind this. Solar's still making drones. I'm actually getting very worried for Solar right now.
Yeah, this is the first time he's going to see this moving across the map. So now we see more banelings on the way. Now more roaches. Spines are going to have to. He needs more than one. 59 army supply to 23 here. Couple banes to bust through. Solar he's in a whole world of trouble. He said, I'm fine. I got worker damage. I can drone behind this. That could not be further from the truth. So now the banelings are running forward, just splashing the damage on top of everything. There are only 3 roaches right here, Ravi. And yeah, we got a Ravager as well. So these spines are not even going to be super effective. And the banelings, what are they supposed to do? Yeah, it's just GG. soO, he takes game 1.
Damn, that was a really, really solid victory there for soO. Honestly, a bit of a misread there, it felt like, from Solar. Not only was he taking some of those drone losses from the baneling run bys and stuff, but I mean, he really just did not see that there was going to be this big attack coming, and that soO was cutting workers and was just flooding out additional units. He was caught so off guard in that kind of finale over there, because if he had actually just been making additional units, maybe he would have been a few workers behind or something, or maybe even a few workers ahead if he cut a few units. But he just, because he was still just droning up as the attack was moving out, there was basically no chance he had. Like, there was no micro that was going to be able to save him there.
No, sometimes it's not. Yeah, as you say, it's not about the micro. It's just about having more stuff or getting the proper read. And in fairness, I don't know that that's going to happen again necessarily. I think Solar has underestimated a little bit how aggressive soO was willing to play, because that was good damage that Solar got. He lost a couple more, unfortunate, but he did kill. He did equalize in damage on the other side of the map. He got banelings and he killed 7 workers, which, considering the fact that soO had banelings and defensive roaches, that's actually really nice damage. But if you flood and you don't get the scout properly, that's not a lot you can do, as you said.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough spot. And we'll see as we head into inside and out for map number 2, whether or not Solo's going to be able to turn this around, if he's going to have a better read on things, like you were saying, and not going to be quite as caught off guard by soO's aggression there. Or if soO is going to be able to carry this out into a victory. I mean, inside and out, also one of those kind of smaller maps and stuff. So if you have like roaches moving out for one of those kind of early timings, yet again, you don't have a lot of time to react, Beowulf. You really have to stay super on top of the scouting on maps like this.
That you do with short maps or short memes and short dreams. But a player who is not short, hopefully his run is not going to be short. In the upper right, down 1, it's Solar.
And down over here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, our yellow Zerg player, it is soO from Afrika Freaks. All right, we got a good old 12 pool coming out from Solar. Interested to see where this is going to lead us. Is he just going to go for the pure 12 pool into good old hatch first and everything? Or is this one of those maps that some Zerg players are feeling the 12 pool drone pull? It's always fun to see that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, players for the most part have figured out how to deal with this by now. It is not nearly as effective as it was when you had all the maps that, well, you drop a spine in the high ground and it denies about a third of the mineral patches in the natural, and that was where things got rather problematic. But yeah, realistically, you're going to see 8 to 12 lings on the other side of the map, natural behind, no gas here. It's fun. It's funny to say that a 12 pool is a macro build, but this really is just a macro build coming out of Solar. But he's going to put some pressure on, and ideally he's going to kill a couple drones. That's kind of the goal here. That's the equalizing condition. And then the game's going to go on. soO's going to have his gas probably a little bit faster, mining time decreased a little bit, and if soO's drone control is good, I mean, that's what you're looking for. You lose less than 3 workers, and you're going to be very happy with things.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, I'm overall with you. I think one of these kind of like topals is usually a bit of a macro build, but 12 lings is actually quite a few for the commitment over here in terms of how many lings you're going to make to try and get a little bit of damage done. I think you are actually looking for the kill on this hatchery if you're going to make that many. So drones are going to be pulled over here. We're going to start to see them making their way down to the natural. Hatchery should get about to the red-ish health before these lings all start getting picked off, or before some of the lings for soO start popping on out. And here we go. This is kind of the moment of truth. He's just going to try and right-click down the hatchery. Is he going to be able to get it? Oh, it's close.
I think he's got this here. Yeah, with the additional lings. There we go. The hatch goes down, 2 drones as well. And, normally the calculator says, okay, 8 to 12 lings, fine. You're going to pull drones. It's going to be okay. You don't want to lose too many workers. But because Inside Out is such short rush distance, it got there just a little bit quicker. And then that is a dead base. Yeah, soO only lost 2 workers, but you lose 2 workers, you lose your hatch. He's got some work ahead of him. And yeah, he did kill some lings in exchange, but there are 2 queens here, Ravi. This is not likely to really do much of anything here, although good micro here to start, and the queen has to run away. The lings are dead, but queen now in a bit of a choke point. Looks like lings will be able to get 1 drone attempted spore cancel, but not really there. And now into the main base. 2 lings are not going to get much, but what he wants to see is how much gas has been mined, and maybe get a worker, but unlikely. The gas mining though, that's a good scout.
Yeah, decent scout indeed. And well, it's gonna be a funky situation now since solar has that hatchery. He's up against soO who doesn't. soO has to kind of make some tough decisions at this point. It looks like the decision that soO is going for is just to try and take an extra expansion a little bit faster maybe than solar was planning to do. And I think, like you were talking about, the gas count is also going to be an important factor, just because if you do not have Zergling speed, it's going to be tough to defend your own third base. So solar going to be a little bit slower on his third. Just going to opt instead, go up to his Roach Horn, get start up that lair.
Yeah, a nice quick layer here. It opens up a lot of opportunities for solar for roach speed timings, things like that. We're really going to have to keep an eye on how many gases he's got. It 3 right now, so most likely going to be roach play. He had that 4th, of course, and then mutas are certainly on the docket. But because we don't see a third base from solar right now, that does give us an idea that he's going to look for some level of aggression. But soO, Carapace on the way. I talk about aggression. The gold Zerg, he's got some on the mind, certainly.
Yeah, Carapace upgrades usually the kind of thing that we end up seeing from players who want to get a bit more aggressive, just because Carapace upgrades, they do okay in like the earlier stages. They help out with lings versus like your opponent's roaches and stuff. They help your roaches against your opponent's roaches. But as those upgrades start scaling on up, the Carapace upgrade it just kind of does less and less over the course of the game. So it is usually a bit indicative of some aggression, and soO is, trailing a little behind in terms of that worker count. In fact, he is flooding out a few more lings right now. So when is that aggression actually going to start kicking in? Is it going to be right as soon as that Roach Horn finishes?
Yeah, it should time out with Carapace completing. Sometimes you see setup like this, and the lings start across the map early. They look to force stuff out. They look to delay the economy of solar by being aggressive just a little bit more. But okay, so soO's trying to hide these lings, and the Overseer is gonna find its way anyways. It's a speedy boy, and not much you can do to hide that. But again, Inside and Out is such a short map that pretty much as soon as the lings show themselves, they're on the other side of the map trying to get on top of this third base. But it looks like for the moment there are enough roaches to ward this one back, because of course creeps getting dropped to allow the queens to find their way elsewhere. But this is just a start. Carapace is going to be done in about 30 seconds. That really is going to be the timing that soO is looking for, as more and more roaches are on the way. But this is not, I don't know that this is going to work out super well for the yellow Zerg, right? He's got an additional hatch, but his economy has been so far down, and Solo's been building so many units that his supply is really not catching up. +1 and roach speed for that superior concave is going to be done right around the same time that Carapace is complete. So really, Ravi, it's all going to be about the Ravager piles. Can these surrounds happen with the lings? Can the Ravagers do that damage through the roach armor, or negate the roach armor there, and just find that burst that soO needs to make sure he cuts through all of this?
Yeah, I think there's a massive ask here for soO to try and make something work. I think really it's just going to be the massive swell of lings that's going to be the big difference, because soO is definitely not winning out in terms of roach count, right? Like you said, there's a couple of Ravagers, but it's 2 roaches and 3 Ravagers. It really is just going to be, can these lings get the big amount of surface area they need to actually deal with these opponent's roaches? solar, I mean, he's going to be bleeding out a few roaches on the front lines, but as time goes on, this is still going to just benefit solar more and more and more. That's not even to speak of the +2 missile attack upgrade that's on the way. And so far, it doesn't feel like soO's finding the damage he needs just yet.
No, he's not. He's not really getting the good surrounds he wants. The bio's not really landing. This is going to be an opportunity, but no, solar kills everything. Micro's back, and that looks pretty simple. Solar, soO, 1-1.
Really, really tough kind of a setup over there. It felt like maybe solar had a really good read or something on the situation, because the fact that +1 missile attack was timing out at the exact same time as the Carapace upgrade finishing up just meant that it was going to be really, really tough to make a whole lot happen over there. It was going to be basically a Zerg player that had a massive swell of roaches, just a minor worker count lead. Like, I think that maybe soO was hoping that solar would just greed a little bit harder and make a few more workers than he wanted to there. But I mean, yeah, it just felt like solar was super on top of things.
Yeah, it felt much more like this scenario where Solar understood that he was ahead because he killed the hatch, and he wasn't about
Yeah.
to let soO back into that game. So he says, "Okay, +1 speed roach timing." Now this has been a build since forever, and I don't think you're going to be ready for it. So he was going for effectively a counter timing that just happened to work really well into this hidden carapace, because I don't believe that Evo chamber was ever scouted by Solar. That just works really well into this setup that soO was going for. But Inside and Out is a short map. It is probably one of the best, if not the best, maps for 12 pools in the game. I'm going to be curious to see what we're going to get when we move into game number 3, because it's not going to be quite as short, Robbie. I think we've had one game that worked out very well with a bunch of Bainley connections, and then a random roach swell worked well for soO. We've had one game that a 12 pool worked really well for Solar. And now, as we move on to Tropical Sacrifice, is this the game that we go into the mid game much more even?
I think it's interesting because both of these players, that, to be sure, there has been some mechanical testing, especially in that first game and stuff with Ling Bane micro and everything. But overall, it kind of feels like most of these games can just be summed up as like strategic wins. There's been good reads or being able to sneak one in on your opponent with, a massive flood of units that your opponent didn't see, or reading that your opponent's about to come in with an attack and being hyper prepared for it. It just feels like that's been the name of the game for this series so far. And I'm really, really curious as we go into Tropical Sacrifice. If you're, like you were saying, slightly larger map and stuff, are we just going to be able to get an actual like kind of normal-ish macro game, or are we going to be subject to yet another one of those games where it's like, oh well, this kind of looks a bit one-sided because one player gets a really good strategic read on the situation, the other player didn't quite keep up with it.
Yeah, and Tropical Sacrifice, you talk about, not only is the big map in terms of rush distance, 37 seconds. It's not, say, inside, not say Moondance at 31, but it's got that platform. It has those kind of free 3-4 bases that are rather hard to aggress into. Now, Lings often have a lot to say about that. But if there was a map where you can be a little bit more defensive, it is going to be this one. We're going to have to see if the player in the upper right can do it. In the gold, folks, for the Guangdong Freaks, it's soO.
And down here in the bottom left-hand side of the map, our purple Zerg player from Kaizi Gaming, he is Solar. This is a elimination game now. This is going to be the map that decides one of these players being knocked out of TSL. The other player will get the chance to carry on forward and face off the next round of the lower bracket against a probably still very tough opponent, but we'll have to see. Love the little red crystals that we got over here on Tropical Sacrifice. Okay, Beowulf, I have to ask. Is the ground on Tropical Sacrifice, is it red stone or is it blood?
In the context of this being a nice broadcast and family friendly, I think it's strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam. All right. Yeah, it's strawberry jam, or it's red crystals like we're seeing up there on the altar. I feel like the name implies something a little bit grimmer and stuff, and it's always been interesting to me whenever I see this map now. I'm like, what did the map creator have in mind? Because I'm imagining like the Indiana Jones kind of scenes where you have the little like all the runes and stuff filling with like a liquid or red liquid or something, and you're like, interesting. PG movie.
But you know what? I didn't notice until even after our observer zoomed in on those red crystal pillars. You have a sacrifice altar. You have the outline of a zealot, I think it is, on this triangular plinth. So yeah, I guess I guess not. I guess zealots are just made of strawberry jelly. That's gonna be the shape of things. But Fear Dragon, you know, as this game goes on, at the very least, we've survived the first 2 minutes with nothing super crazy, no 12 pulls, nothing like that, no early gas, and well, really, the next timer we're looking at, do they get the third base on time? Right? Do they get that? Do they surpass 27 drones on time? And I gotta assume they will. It's one of those things where I'm really sad to see one of these players go. But when your life is on the line, are you gonna pull an MVP? Are you gonna 2 ranks in Game 7? Or are you going to play something a little bit more standard where you say, okay, I'm not putting my entire tournament life on a coin flip?
Yeah, you know, I think one thing I will say about both these players is that both of these two are extremely experienced veterans, right? soO is literally someone who has been at the absolute top of the world in the world of StarCraft. Sometimes he's been, you know, one step below the absolute top, being a second place finisher for many, many a tournament, but he's also been a first place finisher. solar has also been at the top before, and I think anyone that's been at that level is kind of aware of the power that comes with being willing to put it all on the line in a game 3 or something, even if it is an elimination match. So, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if either one of these players did decide to bust something out. I don't think it's going to necessarily happen in the next, like, 30 or 40 seconds or so, but it is nice to see both these players kind of just testing the waters, and knowing that either one of them could do something aggressive is enough. Just knowing that either one of them are willing to do that means that their opponents have to respect it.
And we do have soO building a couple more lings than Solar has at this point, as he's setting himself up for just a little bit more aggression. We can see, there we go. Servers are on top of things today here, Ravi. We got Banelings morphing on the north side, as lings are going to take a whole roundabout route, trying to do what they can to avoid the Overlord on the map. One ling in the main base is actually going to say, oh, well, there's droning. So that's actually a really big scout. Yes, lings are going to run in, and yes, these banelings are here, but soO, I think, wanted to make it look like there is more aggression than there is, but good surround here on the queen to start. Banelings come rolling in, but oh, that is a massive baneling connection there from Solar, actually. soO did not want to do that. Yeah, he got 2 workers, but he just lost all of his lings, did not get the queen. And Solar's going to be very happy with the game state now. He's got free droning for a little bit.
Yeah, it does have a bit of time, since he doesn't have to worry about soO having too many lings out on the map, and, you know, soO actually has to make a few more lings down, actually, just to make sure he can deal with any sort of counterattacks or any of those lings moved across the map. But overall, it does seem like it's a pretty even-ish situation. Both these players just going to be going back mostly into drones at this point, and sitting on relatively even numbers, sitting on, I would say, a faster layer there. I mean, a good bit faster of a layer there for Solar. That's the second layer. All right, there we go.
No, it's just it's to make sure that there's, for the eventual baneling bust into soO's natural, to make sure the banelings don't kill the lair, because of course the lair has more HP than a hatchery does. So next level plays there from soO. I appreciate it, but he understands now that 30 banes are not going to roll into his base at 6 minutes, so probably going to be okay. But you're right to point this out, Fear Dragon. In all seriousness, having that lair so much quicker, what it really means is roach speed is going to be quicker. So even with +1 on both sides, the roaches of Solar are going to be significantly better, because he can get that concave. Even on creep, he's going to be able to enforce that superior concave, have more roaches fighting, which means that soO is really, he's not going to have much of a window for quite a while to really do much of anything on the map.
Yeah, it really makes me wonder if Solar is actually looking to do a proper push out around this timing, because, I mean, he has been nonstop flooding out roaches, and we have a pretty substantial worker difference. You can see soO has been focusing on making a lot more workers. He went up to 66 as opposed to Solar, who's just sitting at 54. And there it is. Nidus Worm is going to be the option here. He's not even going to actually give his opponent time to get, like, his own roach speed up and everything, to wait for a move out across the map. No. Solar is going straight up for the Nidus Worm, is going to try and get across the map ASAP, take advantage of the +1 missile attack that just finished up, but also that roach speed upgrade you were talking about. We'll see if he can actually get out all of these roaches quickly enough, because right now it's 21 roaches for Solar to 13 for soO. It's like an 8 roach advantage.
All right, so Nidus going up in the main base here. Roaches on the right side. They're just not quite enough roaches for soO just yet. And with Roach speed not yet done, I think the roaches at the front here are going to win the fight more than anything. Yeah, as more and more reinforcements arrive, because soO does have defender's advantage. That is nice. But roaches in the main base, there they go. And now solar with a second Nidus on the bottom side. It's just going to look to ping pong around the map. soO is in a lot of trouble right now. It's going to take a while for him to figure out how to stabilize. But if he does Fear Dragon, if he's able to make this happen, he will have 2-1. He will have significantly superior upgrades, and that is always going to be rather nice. So the roaches looks like he has the superior concave, superior count on the main base. A couple roaches left behind. That's going to make sure that this Nidus does go down into the third base. Roaches of solar find their way, and you got to be so careful running down the ramp. You just don't really have the concave. So 15 drones do go down. Funnily enough, the drone count is still nice, but man, this is just starting to snowball here just a bit. Fear Dragon, 82 army supply to 46 in the third base, under significant threat.
Yeah, it is 28 roaches to 12 right now. That is telling the tale there, Beowulf. And it's all roach versus roach right now. More workers are going down. It looks like Solar is feeling confident here, about to eliminate soO. Going for the roach war, and no more roaches going to be produced. Could even snipe off that Evo chamber, but doesn't need to, as Solar is going to be able to take game number 3.